Hey, I'm Andrew, the founder of SagaSolve, and we make a hyper agent, so an agent that makes agents. And today we're going to talk about the Claude Watermarking, and everybody blew up about that. So this is an important topic. We, as a species, deserve the right to know who and what we're talking to. We should know if we're talking to a bot or a person. That's important information for us to know, so we can make decisions whether or not to engage. And so what's happening is an AI arms race is forming. Tools to watermark and then tools to remove the watermark. And in my view, this is just a waste of energy. This is not good for anybody. We're all losing. And so this is a very real problem for the civilization. And I'll show how this technology it's essentially impossible to watermark in the first place. All right, so here's a first chat where I basically use Claude and I give it some instructions. So I'm like, hey, make an about this, watermarking and AI generated content. All right, so we use Claude's intelligence to come out with the outline of communicating our points. And then the next thing this technology allows you to do is absolutely just switch the model. So I can just ask Claude right now, because it's plugged into this agent harness, how to swap, or just to swap the model, right? So I'm going to tell it, hey, switch to DeepSeek for Flash, and then kick off 8 chats, and it writes 3 to 4 tweets on every point. And so you can see here, I kicked off, I'm using I'm using Claude to prompt itself the agent, but with a different model. And then so on all these chats and all these tweet examples here, you can see that they were made at the bottom here with DeepSeek 4 here. Now that is, you can see there's a problem, right? This is incredibly cheap to produce and get around. You know, the cost here is not even a cent. It's about it's a 14th of a penny to write all this. So this is so cheap and free. So there is a problem here where the costs to coordinate and I guess enforce compliance is a lot higher than getting around it. You can see how cheap I just got around this watermark. That's a huge problem for us. So this is putting watermarks in the prompt outlines of frontier providers just isn't the solution. So what you've seen me do here, I've created maybe, we'll say 4 tweets each by 8. Yeah. 8, so that's 32, and then I can push it out on the social platforms. You know, maybe multiply that by 4 or 5. You know, that's 120 to 150 tweets. Like, should I push that out? No. With this technology, for the time being, before we get the solutions up and running, we need to exercise restraint because we cannot risk destroying our communication channels. So should I make 1 tweet quality of this, or like make a video here, or should I do 150 tweets and schedule them all through the week, right? You know, let's stop yelling. We all have incentive to not spam. I'll be teaching more about this in the future if you want to learn about this. So this was an example of how agents can switch out their models, right? And you can use the model for the job that you want. Now, I certainly don't want you to use this technology to spam. I want you to use it where the job is required to do it. Sometimes the models, they're good for doing different jobs, different writing, and different categories, and they have different prices, right? So you want to be able to select your model, and you want to be able to make sure that you put out their quality, good faith content that helps people answer the questions that they're asking. All right, thanks a lot. So this is some insight into how this technology works, and I hope you enjoyed it. Take it easy, guys. Bye.